If you guys haven't been here at the start of the streams, we play these songs that are generated with Suno, and they're just fun, silly songs making fun of Concord or Herman Hulst destroying PlayStation with Jim Ryan, stuff like that. But one of the songs I played today was about giving up and moving on from Fairgame $, because it's a game about stealing from the rich, giving to the poor, but the player actually fits the bill, even though that's like literally the opposite of what you're doing by buying the game. You're giving your money to a multi-billion-dollar corporation and then pretending as though you're engaging in something that's more noble because you're robbing from digital rich people. It's very funny. It's very stupid, and it's one of the most out-of-touch game concepts I've seen in a long time. It's just cringy as hell. But it's been expected to come this year. They released a trailer. Was it last year or the year before? Fairgame $. I don't actually remember exactly when they revealed it. It was May of 2023, going on 2 years ago. They dropped this trailer, and it was so roundly mocked, it's actually largely been forgotten, which is what's really, really funny. I've talked about this on stream a handful of times because this is, I think, Concord 2.0 is what it looks to be based on these trailers. Or this trailer, this is the only one we've gotten. But I've always been amazed that people will respond in the comments, be like, what? Oh, I forgot about this game. I thought they canceled this. People always forget about it, but it's apparently one of Sony's like up and coming big things they're very confident in. Remember, they canceled the Blue Point live service game that was a God of War spinoff in a big franchise. They canceled the whatever live service game the Days Gone devs at Sony Bend were working on. They canceled those, but they kept this. This game is still in production, okay? And it's literally like themed around you playing against other teams to rob billionaires, and you take the money, and it's okay because you took the money from somebody that was rich. And that makes theft okay. Okay, also give us $40 for the game, or $70, whatever they're going to charge for it, because they still insist they're pursuing premium live service games that cost money up front too. It's just cringe. Like, it's just really cringe. And maybe the gameplay is really fun, but all we can go on is what we've seen so far, which is a really cringy trailer. In fact, there's a QR code at the end of it. If you are brave, you can scan this QR code yourself right now on screen. When you do, it's going to take you to a website, and I just want you to look at the address of the website, because if I recall, it is taketheir.money. I just double checked. Yeah. Taketheir.money is the web address. You're kind of saying the quiet part out loud. They're like, oh no, you copied the headline of the email from the executive that greenlit this project. Take their money. It's really, really bizarrely out of touch. Now, the thing to understand about this, the reason it seems like they've been so interested in this project is because it's from a company called Haven. And Haven is actually a brand new studio. I don't think they've ever released anything before, but it's from a group of devs from, this is going to shock you, especially when you look at this. It's a group of former Ubisoft developers, I believe in Montreal, and also a lot of former Google engineers, which is interesting. And apparently when you go to their website, the website for Haven as a studio, it's interesting because their website hasn't really been updated in a long time. They've gone kind of silent since that trailer was received very poorly, but you see they're still hiring a lot of people. Okay, technical producers, AI programmers, senior gameplay programmers, user experience researcher, gameplay network programmer. They're hiring people. They're still working on something, but you see their last like big post, March 27th of 2024, women at Haven, back in March, almost a year ago was their last like community post, and their website is formatted like ass. What is this? Jesus, this is like Wix.com on steroids. But beyond that, you see they've got the official launch event, October of 2022. And in this, they talk a ton about cloud computing and cloud stuff. Axios, you see new PlayStation studios trying to reinvent game development. What they say specifically, they're trying to craft a better way to make games by moving development into the cloud. What? Haven's vision, he explained, would replace the status quo of developers needing to huddle around a monitor to compare notes or check their progress. Instead, games would be built on cloud servers with changes visible to all collaborators in real time. The level designer is modifying it at her computer, and everybody who's playtesting it is seeing those changes, says Cerny. So their whole goal, they even say right here, more than 30% of Haven's 115 or so developers are now working on cloud-based development tools, artificial intelligence, and machine learning with an eye towards streamlining development. This was back in October of 2022, well before like the huge crazy push into AI that we've seen in the last like year and a half. So before that. So Sony bought them, it seems, because they were interested in the tools they were building, not necessarily the video game. Okay? Because all of the headlines, all of the discussion about this, they're like, yeah, we're also making a game, but we're interested in the process, in overhauling the tools and stuff. So it seems as though they didn't want to lay off people at Haven because they think the tools they're building are what's really, really useful and what could actually come back to help them. But ultimately, they are not a like an engineering company. They are a development studio. They have a lot of game developers working there. And the whole goal, it seems, has been that Fairgame $sign was going to bankroll their development of these tools, and they would use the money from Fairgame $sign to build out these tools that could then be shared across PlayStation's portfolio of studios, which again is a fine idea. And that's sort of what happened if you think of like Fortnite, where Epic Games built Fortnite, and then that is using the Unreal Engine, and that funds the development of Unreal Engine to the point where now tons of companies use it. And I think that's what they were trying to do. Problem is, Fairgame $sign looks like hot donkey ass, at least based on the one trailer we've seen, which is not a great way to start your pursuit of a massive like overhaul of the games industry. It's just not where you want to be. You don't want people to see your trailer and immediately start cringing. You want them to go, oh, that looks cool. That looks cool. Like later, we're going to look at Tides of Annihilation, that game that looked too good to be true, the graphically insane one. We're going to look at this, but that was based off of one trailer. We saw one trailer and we thought that looks badass. That's what you should hope to see from a trailer, right? Not this. And I mean, now you can see even in the comment section, this should tell you everything you need to know about the current viewpoint towards the game. Eat the rich, said the giant corporation. Also, please buy our overpriced battle pass and microtransactions. Guys, we're going on a heist. Prepare yourselves. All right, let me just put my giant hoop earrings in. You want to know about us? No. Want to see me lose $400 million? Want to see me do it again? You can actually feel Sony sweating nervously through the screen. Sony's not looking for a game of the year. Sony's looking to break the 12-day record, Concord. A lot of people think this is just going to be Concord 2.0, and I think Sony is worried about that too, which is why all of this builds up to what could have been. This is why it's always so funny. People are like, Luke, this whole clip could have been 30 seconds long where you just read the title of the article. Yeah, but context, my friend, and watch time, man. That's part of it. This leads me to the point of this video, of this whole segment. Sony's PS5 live service title, Fairgame $sign, has reportedly slipped. It's now, reportedly, looking to release next year. They booted it out of 2025 and into 2026. Now, this is according to Jeff Grubb, who claimed in a podcast this week that co-op heist shooter, first announced nearly 2 years ago, has been internally delayed to 2026. Announced in 2023 with no release window, Fairgame $sign is described by its creators as a fresh, modern take on the heist genre. I always get nervous when I hear fresh, modern take. I'm like, oh God, here we go. The PS5 and PC game is the debut title from Haven, blah, blah, blah. Creative director Mathieu Ledoux said on the game, in a nutshell, this is a thrilling competitive heist game where you join an underground movement to rob the ultra rich and rebalance the scales. Okay. Sure. He added, Fairgame $sign will give you an opportunity to break... Fairgame $sign will give you an opportunity to break the rules as a modern-day Robin Hood, a thrill seeker or just someone that wants to collect cool loot. Trespass inside forbidden locations around the world, fill your pockets like a kid in a candy store, and unravel nefarious plans of untouchable billionaires. This game was literally greenlit by a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Like, what? It's just so cringy, dude. I cannot believe that they did it. And like, here's the other thing. They show all these pictures of like, you know, the people that are greenlighting these projects they're founding it. You know, this is Jade Raymond, a former head honcho over at Ubisoft, a well-known, you know, industry veteran. So Jade, Leon O'Reilly, and then PS5 architect Mark Cerny. These are all multi-millionaires, you know, but yeah, no, eat the rich. It's just so freaking funny to me. It's so stupid. I can't wait. It's going to be so stupid and funny. Oh man. You know, not everybody gets joy out of cringe, but man, I eat it up. It gives me life, man. I just thoroughly enjoy some Schadenfreude. And you know, we were eating good last year. Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. We had Concord. I mean, it was a tasty year if you enjoy watching things crash and burn that deserve to crash and burn. And I was excited for this because I thought this was going to be like a pretty good time, but I guess we'll just have to wait till next year. But there we are. I'd like it if we could stop cringing. Yeah, ultimately, like, here's the deal. We all should root for more good games, but I'm a firm believer that there's some concepts that you just can't, like, you can't salvage, okay? The Saints Row reboot. I don't think there was any way to take that idea and make that work. I don't think you could take an idea of insufferable, like 20-somethings who nonstop rant about like eating the rich and also down with the patriarchy and also complaining about student loans constantly. I don't think you could take that and then find a way to make it work as a video game that people would connect with. Because it's just such a stupid idea to begin with. It just is a bad concept. Same with Concord. There was no way where you could like, yeah, it's basically Overwatch, but worse. And we're going to charge $40 for it. And there's like no real game modes. And all the character designs are so distractingly bad that is all anybody's talking about. Not even the gameplay being mediocre. All anybody can talk about is how bad the character designs are. There was no salvaging that idea. And when you see something like that, especially something that I think is really bad for the industry, which is this nonstop push for live service stuff from studios that are otherwise quite capable, I think it's good, and dare I say even noble, to call it out and to wave the red flags and hold their feet to the fire. You know, I think there's some live service concepts that are good that can add to the player experience. I mean, obviously, I enjoy Marvel Rivals, for example. I play it with my brothers and my wife. We all hop on and have a great time. That's a concept that I think was really well executed and fun. And it was just delivered really well. I think it's priced fairly. You know, how they've monetized it, I think is fair. I think that's a really good example for everybody to look to. Whereas you see some of the other attempts for live service adaptations of stuff, and I think it's slimy, and I think it's bad for the industry. So I think it's important to call these things out when you see them and to hold their feet to the fire and hold them accountable and push them to be better. Because ultimately the companies will do whatever they can get away with. They'll push and push and push, and until they see some repercussions and consequence, they'll keep doing it. And in 2017, gamers had to stand up against the loot box crap with Battlefront 2 and with Shadow of War. And then they kind of like chilled out for a while. And then we had to stand up and freak out about the NFT stuff because that was getting so stupid and insane. And then they calmed down on that. And then they started pushing everything, having battle passes in. Then they calmed down with that a little bit. So I think you just gotta, you know, and then Sony's big push for the last like year or two, really like 3 or 4 years, but we've seen most of it the last year or two. It has been having their first party single player studios work on live service stuff, which is just the most insane asinine thing ever. To have Bluepoint, the magicians that made Demon Souls work and so beautifully recreated, to have them working on a God of War live service spin-off game, like you have to be so, I don't even know what the word would be. Like, not just out of touch with what gamers actually want, but you also have to be so like dismissive of the actual talent that your studio has. It's just, yeah, dull, dim-witted, sinful, sinful. That's a funny term. Yeah, it's just like so dim-witted to do that and then expect that we would all see it. Oh, it's Kratos with an axe and I can put him in a unicorn outfit I paid $20 for. Like, it really betrays, I think, a real maybe contempt or it shows what they think of their players and of the gaming community, that they think they're so dull and dumb that gamers would give them money for something like that. It's really insulting, I think, to the broader community and industry and the people that are making those decisions that speak so lowly of gamers. I think those people deserve to be called out for that. I think that that's the thing. So anyway, Fairgame $, we'll have to wait till next year, but it just means that next year there's going to be all the more focus on it. It does seem like the Horizon multiplayer game is still slated for this year, so we should probably still see that. That, I think, stands a chance of being impressive. Whether it finds an audience or not, I don't know. Because if it doesn't come out this summer, and there's still been no announcement or anything, there's a strong chance that they could end up launching either close to GTA 6 if they're still targeting this year, or if they slip into next year, I mean, they could be launching the Horizon Online game next to GTA Online's overhaul, which would be the most hilarious self-own you could possibly do. Like, already Horizon has a history of releasing right next to big games that dominate the discourse instead of, getting the full limelight. The first game launched right next to Breath of the Wild on the Switch 2, or the original Switch. And then Horizon Forbidden West launched right next to Elden Ring for some reason. And it would be really, really freaking funny if they tried to put the Horizon multiplayer online live service Fortnite game right next to like GTA Online. I think that would be freaking hilarious. So we'll see. But that's still allegedly coming. We have Marathon. There's rumors and speculation that maybe Marathon is revealed in like April-ish, maybe even March. So we should see that soon. So Sony still has a lot of live service stuff coming, but Fairgame $ specifically, we're going to have to wait a little while longer for. But they're not giving up on it. Sony, hear me out. Fly me to Montreal. Let me see Fairgame $. If it's good, and like, imagine if I end up being an advocate for the game. Wouldn't that be great? But the deal is I have to be able to make fun of it if I hate it. Okay, that's the deal. I'll come out and I'll tell you thumbs up, thumbs down. You got to cancel it or it looks great. But if it looks bad, I get to make fun of it. Okay, that's the deal. Don't come to Montreal for now. It's buried in snow. I believe that, actually. I do follow some people. I do follow some people who live in Montreal on X, and one guy posted a picture and he had like 3-4 feet of snow. Like, he had opened his front door and it's just 4 feet of snow and he's having to dig his way out to the street, which is pretty funny. Yeah, like, if you end up being an advocate for Fairgame $, I'm quitting YouTube and gaming altogether. Can you imagine if? But that's what I've never understood, is that they'll have people that are like pretty critical of the games, that they're like, okay, these people are unconvinced. They don't see it. And instead of trying to convince those people, they just kind of try to ignore them. And then they just double down on the fanboys that are super stoked on it. And then they're shocked when nobody believes the fanboys that are reviewing it. Like with freaking Redfall, where a lot of people were like, I don't know, man, it seems weird to have this studio doing a live service game. What are we doing? Looks really crappy. And then you get a couple of Xbox YouTubers who are like, this has the potential to be the best game Microsoft has ever made, and potentially a Game of the Year contender, especially when you consider what the Studio Arcane has done before. And it's like, everybody is laughing their asses off that somebody could suggest such a stupid thing. But like, those are the people that they keep giving access to, and they're like shocked when people don't believe them, you know? Like, what do you mean you didn't believe the fanboy? Like, what did you mean? We thought you would be super convinced. It's like, no, like, everybody else has eyes and can see that this looks like ass. We're not just going to believe some guy on X that's saying it's game of the generation, you know, because it's not. It's pretty clearly not. He took my thing.